Difficulties and others. It's one of them startups which talk about disputing news in the UK. Multiple stores that give it their opinion. But the news that's out there for disputing news. Several people in news affects their lives. It's then reported. Generally, it's moved sort of detail with what represented in the media. So in this podcast, so I think to try rest this battles. So, first story, I want to focus on is a team's review and then a few formal dates and some of the 18th from each culture out to the team's review, which is looking to the future of personal independent payments. Into the key concerns, the bans and invasive expressed alarm of history causes of 2 billion disputed benefits. And the woman confirmed the attendance to significantly reduce the backlog of workers that's work assessments through the Though charities have warned that increased reassessments could force significant stress for payments. Talk about this. We're going to manage the ups and downs go over and over and over again. But we'd say that when they're set on the table and there's no surprise, it looks like that's what's going to happen. In terms of, backlog of goes, well, that's where the money's going to come from, isn't it? Not going to all they didn't come for before. I think, what that base assessment needs to be done in being numbers. These ideas, I think, they'll tell you, we look at the idea of who isn't capable of trying to work like a very people can solve them. You have accept the end of that. So it's going to be people that can't work. There's about conditions. I get that there's people that like those conditions, but lots of things. Well, certain issues that really don't see how this, it's that hard to kind of determine. In those cases, what we really don't understand is how many people with lifelong conditions, extreme lifelong conditions, that can't be determined from those with short-term conditions, or those that actually know but understand when you've got a history of medical history, NHS consultations, etc. and so forth. It's hard to determine whether, it's a very severe condition, etc. and so forth. I think that's a choice. Lots of medical things such as severe disabilities, etc. and so forth. I don't see how you even need to go to an assessment. I think it's ridiculous. Greatest within the world. So I think, those things are not question. I think in terms of supporting people that can work into work, with work, then they need to redefine the system. I think the power to watch access to work. It's all big makes the mutual purpose. I think we need people on board as to what employees in terms of the stores they need, because there's been a mismatch between what school leavers and even graduates up to and out of education with and what employers actually need. I think there's a mismatch, so you need to lead us up. Let's look at, the future of and how I can answer the workplace, how I can help serve people, those that can work in employment, entrepreneurship as a route for disabled people as well. Again, some things you look for the maybe vocational skills, etc. Those who can as well. And we took that, you heard of us, how that affects them. And place in terms of the skills that they bring and the insights that they bring and tailoring, your diverse approach to employment, because I think there's plenty of things that we miss out, but your diversity that isn't mean that all being more understood innovation in all various sectors, not just science, technologies, and more systems and processes, etc. and so forth, and that needs to be harnessed and brought into the workplace as well. Because again, looking at disability as a negative is a positive as well. And see what those things can bring. So I think even in terms of, I said before, those times before we talk about certain people being able to work with many of those people get direct payments to manage their own stuff, manage their care in their own home. So they have the management skills of the bills on the ground, on the floor. Right? Yes, and the living schemes out of training around skills, management behaviours, and maybe help payroll, but to be honest, it's majority. The simplest way was managing staff stress. I know a lot of people must have presently have issues managing their own stuff because, again, it's to manage staff. We live in this society that tells you so people, still the bottom of the food chain. So, it's very different to get skilled and more staff that make the care background, but they take orders from most of the time stable people to manage support stable people in an institutional environment to being alone with a disabled person as your boss and taking corrections of them. It's why non-disabled people can't or for them to do. And again, society plays part in it. So not disabled people are employers. Let's be honest, all they are. They're paid employers because the money that they receive goes straight to sometimes it's important. It goes to employers and they effectively paid unpaid bosses, although society will say, well, you're getting the care. Again, the management time, that managers when they were asleep, because as soon as they wake up, that it starts to actually all these management skills, and we call them unemployed. So again, that's something that needs to be looked at. Again, I've said before, maybe a way around rates, give them a management rate, and then there's going to be different places, and ever since that as well, for them, there's another payment system set from there for them, they'll be, it's the employment, and they think that government, but then what's going to do that, though, because it gives some speedy environment, and I'm not quite sure that systems are either. So, anyway, from that story, let's move on. Sometimes it's well, in housing, the major point for intention is when it's been like offence decisions / new builds, accessibility circuits. Provides groups have described the move as speech hierarchy and the individual requirements to support homes or top that have been used by housing for years to come. Again, we talked about this before. Now, the homes we bought standards are not the recognised standard most orchards and orchard users, their homes, etc. and so forth in terms of, suppose always mention of always upon things, and we had that some sites that was built as was in basically they just couldn't build some standards. It wasn't just about different sections and so forth. It was coming down the line really, and so they become evil government body to these to address because obviously homes need to be built and they might guarantee instruments homes be built by within 10 years, I think, when they came in. So aim again. As I said before, it's common sense of this really. We've got an aging population, it's a bit on the rise. Accessibility is key, really, and it would make more sense to build to that standard or arms to that standard. And there's a cost implication, but there could be a cost implication later. It's DFGs, etc. Or I suppose the argument will be if accessibility becomes that much of an issue, calling in their home, then if they get out, so that'll be the argument. Then there's where things are going with that sector as well. That's not. Indeed, because many care providers are saying they live in and just with the energy crisis that they can't afford to. A lot of them think of Cheshire. Even last year, we're saying that they're having to. Just got notice to allow the residents to afford between what the social services would pay on each resident and what they're having to bring themselves just to get basis of vote. So that's It's the guarantee either, especially for this decade, the energy cost, because the ongoing escalation of the war in Ukraine, Ukraine, same lowest peace talks, there just needs to be any definite ending to that. So energy cost is okay, kind of, to the sense would be that there's better say energy, build less, it's this. And you see that as being built then, or, the investment will go in there because it makes sense because it is. It's a lot of things precious about that housing is, and I think there'll be not an economic effect. To personally, next part, I'm just refilling, I would think one is about set struggles, closures to speech of discoveries and habits to major restructure and simply attain to address crime which is now simply 138 shops and 54 roles highlights made from the pressure on the UK said that by President Biden complained about it's again supplies changes in national insurance payments, etc. hit a lot of employers. And also, obviously, went on, retail when it comes to forestry. Recently been called off and helped and to shops and that. And that means now, a lot of the benefits you get. Shops in terms of cost that's been significantly over the years as well, because in terms of them putting that score to lay that out the control their prices with banks at the moment. For that much benefit to consumers and so it's realization. Sort of isn't we talked about in terms of just energy prices, etc. and so forth, and the fact that there's no cap for retailers and retailers and businesses. It's sale prices support perfect storm and short today. Many third sectors, just like many businesses. It's had to reflect it. Expand up a bit news, and this is something last time. First water use in Australia, development representations of the 20s of the first water use in Australia. So they just please, we should be hard to try and take those inspiration as we modest. So you get this way to that's it's good. It's good. In science persons and wasn't too much radical, so then it's brave and it's thing that shows, when start it might win, we don't everyone is saying on done sets to yourself for about $1 million. Get out, go a train, king on the bus, such and such, what's this rich, come and bus, come and try, but go to the, it's the main making on space. So one goal departments, the astronauts, it proves those train operators or those housing providers, those operators. Say, by your heads, upwards, huge accessibility, and it's all all those celebrate holidays and see you in the new year. Take care, thank you. Bye.